Hello, hi. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm Dar Tinilo. This is the first Wednesday of the month of July, and we are live with Game Plan. So this is our How to Plan series, wherein we interview like different guests and check in and see like how are we proceeding in this start of the month. So this FB Live is live in the BDJ, the Bella Tribe, the BDJ Plan with Me, You Got This BH, and of course the ambitious tribe inner circle. So I'm here. Please do share. I don't know. I hope you guys missed me last week because pag may fifth Wednesday of the month, guys, hindi kami nag-appear. It's like our break. It happens just maybe once. Um, I don't know, once every 3 months ba, something like that. So ayun, so if you're watching us, please say hi, comment on the comment section so we can greet you, and please share where you're watching us from. So again, this is Dar with Game Plan, and I'm gonna bring in my guests para may kausap naman ako. Uh our guest for tonight is a very good friend of mine, and I think we've been doing projects for I don't know how many years now, 3 4 years. She's one of our partners for Freedom to Dream Summit. So if you joined us in the Freedom to Dream Summit, Magic of Dreams, she's been very active in helping us out. She is also on a mission to help entrepreneurs build their brand and build their courses. And without further ado, our guest for tonight, the founder of the Ambitious Tribe, Kassy Pajarillo. Hello, Kassy.
Hi, hello, everybody. Hello. I was just checking the pages, but I'm not sure if we're real live. Parang or may
Naka-second
delay.
ano siya,
Naka-delay.
it's on a different link.
Oo.
Kasi I created a new one. Kasi yung earlier link natin hindi nag-work sa page.
Yeah, all right. So I'll look for it and I'll just share it out.
Oo, yeah.
Anyway,
No, it should
hello.
appear. Wala ba?
Wala eh. Hindi ko nakikita sa ano.
Nakita ko siya sa BDJ, sa
All right.
Beldager Power Planner page. It should
Okay.
be. So, hi guys. Sorry,
Hi everyone,
nagto-troubleshoot
guys.
kami
Dito lang kami talaga
para
mag-usap.
magto-troubleshoot na kami to make sure like it's connected.
Got it. Saw it. Yeah. Okay,
You
got
saw
it.
it? You saw it?
Yep. Go. Okay, let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. Or I don't- yeah, nag-work. Do you see it? I saw LinkedIn trainer. I think it's a wrong link though. I don't know
Yeah,
if it was
it's a
deleted.
different. It's okay.
Did
We
it?
have few followers watching us now, so we're good. It's showing. It's showing. Hi,
It's
everybody.
showing. Hi, please share where you're watching us from. And
Yeah.
we're checking in if the live is working across the channels because this is a simultaneous live for all our FB groups, which is BDJ, Bella Tribe, You Got This, and of course, Ambitious Tribe. So I'm here with Kassy. It's Game Plan. It's the first Wednesday of the month.
It's working.
Ayan.
It's there. I saw
Oo.
it. Okay. There you go. Hi, Dar. Kamusta ka naman?
Okay naman. It's been a crazy past 6 months. Siguro what's are my highlights of the year? I
What was
think
it? Yeah.
parang essentially for the past 6 months, it's been a roller coaster. More of a roller coaster versus last year during the pandemic. Kasi parang yung start of the pandemic, kasi parang medyo may stability na nangyari. It's dito yung past 6 months na parang all high hopes, January, February, pababa, the drop down ng March and April and May. And we're just trying to like get back up again this June and this July. So parang last year mo na medyo 1 year, ngayon parang 6 months.
Bilis.
Ang
I
bilis,
know.
'di ba? Tas July na.
Right.
Ayan. Hello, Micah, watching from Mandaluyong. Ayun. So, ayun,
Hello.
that's my past 6 months, and it's super up and down because we're trying to figure out as a company what are our next steps. I guess the challenges are like, have we pivoted enough? from last year,
Yeah,
from early
that's so
this year.
true. That's so
So,
true.
yun yung mga questions, I guess, in our heads. Ikaw, kamusta ka,
Yeah.
Cassie?
Ganon din. Parang, I think, no, it's not I think, it's real. Everybody is pivoting constantly. Like the innovation part is there, really there. And I realized na it's normal. Now we're normal. So apparently you and I are normal. Parang
Yes,
pivot
yes.
here, pivot there, pivot everywhere. Parang when does it end? It doesn't. So yeah, it's, I mean, at least for now, because I mean, I've been speaking with a lot of people lately also, right, on my Ambitious Tribe podcast. And offline, I mean, off the record, I would ask them like, how are your businesses doing? Parang I'm trying to see like, am I
Correct.
normal? Parang, what's going on?
Correct, correct,
And
correct.
yeah, so I think it's really that, it's being innovative also, and then with all the technology that is, it's popping out like mushrooms also. I think this is a great time also to build businesses, because as entrepreneurs then parang people are now getting the support that they need, if not through human labor, and hindi siya labor, with human help. Sorry,
Okay.
wrong term. Human help. Sorry guys, with the human help, I mean power of words, not with the human help, but other actually with ano rin, with technology being in place. Pero it's pretty tricky rin in a way. Kasi nga, like, with technology, you can only do so much. So you can either optimize and maximize, or it can also go somewhere else. So, and it can be very expensive also, the same as, So there's just so many things. But at the end of the day, I think the real common denominator lang naman talaga of everybody is just be human, just be in touch with
Yeah.
your people, and then yeah. So it's like, okay, we're all normal. Okay, I feel better. All is well. All is well.
Ayan. Someone wants to say hi. Can you say hi?
Hi. Hello, hello. Hi, Terry.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't hear. You can say hi.
Hello.
Hello? Okay. So it's her
Okay.
bedtime, kaya she won't be able to stay. Nanggugulo lang before going to sleep. Yeah, I know, parang yeah, I think I agree with that talaga na it's really important for us to just acknowledge acceptance that we are just human. We need to accept also the weaknesses I mean, hindi man weaknesses, parang the limitations that the
Yeah.
situation brings, the current challenges, parang there really just need to be that acceptance. I think, kasi yun nga yung naging challenge eh. Parang akala mo na accept mo na lahat, pero pagdating parang as time passes by or whatever, parang one challenge after the other na parang, oh, mukha ngang we're still trying again. Um,
Yeah.
'Di ba? Parang and then kaya nga yung question niya is parang, are we trying have we pivoted enough?
Yeah, and I totally agree. In pivoting kasi talagang it involves also
Hello,
mastery.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm losing you. It's okay. So, yeah, so pivoting din kasi involves a lot of mastery. It's actually that. Kasi I think what will,
No.
I mean, it's not wrong naman. I think what will make I mean what will make us validate a pivot, a pivot move is when we get to put in a little I mean more mastery into it, rather than just trying it out for the first time. Parang it's not enough data for us to go for, let's just say, if you try one thing and then it's just one thing and then didn't work out, how will you know if it really didn't work out? Or I mean, if you don't have a baseline kind of thing. So syempre you have to try it in one more time. If okay, what went right, what went wrong, and taking audit of, kasi baka naman na what we tried was not, mas may leak, like may very leaky, or maybe what we can do, it could have done, better if we did like this. And then what if we tried, like correcting what we saw that didn't work, and then what we saw that might have worked. And then that's the time that we'll be able to see, okay, is this really something that we can master and do it over and over? I think there is really a hindi siya formula, pero in every business, It's really not the same. I mean, people have their own paths. So just like with you guys, right? Like PDJ, you have your own framework or formula to how you do things. That's why you're here like for X number of years already. Pero dahil nga the new normal happened, so it's kind of like, okay, na-shock yung mundo na parang, teka lang. Yung mga naubuhay, yeah, di ba? So, yeah, but it's fascinating also at the same time. I mean, siguro kung mag-geek out tayo a little bit, it's very fascinating, but it's very risky too. So, one thing that I learned along the way then throughout the 6 months is this. It's like super powerful siya nung na-realize ko siya nung isang araw. When I spoke with one of my podcast guests, sabi ko, oo nga no, the problem is the solution. I
Ano
was
ibig
like,
sabihin ng the problem is the solution?
if you get to identify what the problem is, and then you'll be able to know what you need to work on to, yeah, you need to work on to improve on. So if you really focus on just
Specific enough
the
yung
specific,
problem
yeah,
when the
yeah,
when you've identified, like let's say the root cause or something, or the parang yun nga specific enough, then the
you see
solution
the
is
solution
really presents
there.
itself. Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember parang there's a quote, something related to that, na parang you're ano ba, either 50% or 80% on the solution already pag na-identify mo correctly yung problem. Yeah.
yeah, totoo. I mean, sobrang na-blown, na mind blown din ako na parang, oo nga, no? Kasi like for us, like in the past 6 months, our
Mm.
challenge, my challenge is actually payment gateway. Like, what is a better payment gateway? Because the Philippines is not ready for for the innovative payment gateway. It's right. I mean, we have the Gcash and all that, but it's not sustainable, or it's not. I mean, there's still an extra step that you need to do if you
Correct,
do,
correct.
diba, like all these Gcash instead of okay, solve it na and stuff like that, right? So, and then the other thing with the payment gateways is ang taas ng processing fees. So
Correct.
parang as a business owner also, parang bibigay mo ba yung extra 1%? Lumalaki pa rin yung extra 1%, 'di ba? Or 'di ba?
Correct.
Especially now that PayPal is by the way,
PayPal's so
PayPal
expensive.
they ex
Sorry.
they have more now kasi nga they're doing cryptocurrency. So I think like 6% na if I'm not mistaken, 6 to 8. So malaki pa
Yeah,
rin
it's
siya.
it's too expensive. Yung
It
local
is
the local payment gateways is a bit more manageable. Siguro you
4%.
average 3 to 4%.
Percent.
But
So that was the challenge,
yun.
right? Yeah, it's
Mm.
still, it's still challenging. So, kasi my business model kasi 'di ba I have recurring payments, I have one-time payments,
Ah,
and that's it. So hindi siya transactional lang, it has recurring. So that was it. So that was the biggest problem that I was having. But I didn't get to identify it right away. I thought that my problem was something else. Na I was dwelling into something else. But when I found out na, I'm like, it's just the payment gateway. I was like, what? So parang nag-ripple down siya to a lot of other, parang pag may sakit ka, di ba?
problems.
No, tapos
Oo.
biglang,
It
ano ba?
affects.
This affects
Yeah.
everything. And
Correct,
then
correct.
eventually I was like, pucha, ito ka lang pala eh, buiset.
That's why I actually like you talking about how one thing actually affects the other. Like
Mhm.
the post of our friend si Zeke. So
Yeah,
just to share it to everyone, guys, na parang sometimes we're complaining, 'di ba? Parang ito yung interpretation ko na. So nilagay ko na ng flavor
yeah,
yung post niya na we complain most of the time. I don't know about you. I complain a lot of times na I don't have enough energy, I'm tired, I'm lethargic, ganyan. And parang sometimes the assumption is that parang, oh, kasi I'm overworking, I'm working too much. But I realized when I was like trying to fix I guess, my life in a way, um, it's mainly the kind of food that I was eating. So meaning one aspect of your life is actually affecting the other. And yeah, and it has a domino effect. So parang nung inayos ko yung pagkain ko, I'm still working as hard, but I don't feel as tired.
lethargic.
Oo,
Yeah,
as
it's so
lethargic. And I
true.
feel like that's amazing na parang we're trying to do this, solve one problem I mean, na parang in a fixed way. But actually, maybe there's multiple ways you can solve the problem. Kasi, syempre, yung challenge right now at work is that we are really doing a lot of things because we're trying hard to survive, right? And I
Mm,
know there's like this data that we found out. So this was validated by UN Women and applicable for the Philippines. Do you know like women has an extra 20 hours more work per week versus guys? Like 20 hours, it's almost like one full day. I mean, literally, wala naman tayo hindi naman tayo nadagdagan ng araw, 'di ba? Pero in terms of the amount of work that parang has been consciously put on us, medyo yun yung nangyari. And it's because of child care, dumami, especially for mga moms. And then, at the same time, yung taking care of extended relatives. So, even for those who don't have like children, di ba? Parang
so
nagkakaroon talaga ng responsibility. And then, the third is housework. Siyempre,
so
parang you stay at home and you have to fix a lot more things, right? So, those are the concerns, I guess. And something that we just have to sort of accept in a way and figure out how to make it more manageable. How do we make it more joyful? Also, kasi parang we cannot survive just being, just surviving. Parang just barely surviving, I don't think will last that long. Parang we won't be as motivated to
that's
move
true.
further,
That's
right?
true. Ay, nako, don't get me started with those facts. I mean, alam mo, gusto, baka ma-segue tayo sa iba. But sige, I'll say it there anyway. No, kasi, so because both of us is just all about we're all about enabling dreams, right? We're very
Yes.
passionate to helping our communities, women in general, together. This is why we're friends even better. I also discovered that women earn less. That's number one. Women earn
Yes.
less, and yet 80 or 90%. I forgot the data exactly, but to that extent, our our funds or the money that we get, we still give it back to our family compared to men who's been earning twice or three times of how much we earn, right? And what are they doing? I'm not okay. I'm not questioning what they're doing. I'm just saying like this is the facts. That's what's happening, right? So that's
Yeah.
number one. Number two, even with retirement also, women get less retirement funds or pension compared to men.
Guys. Kasi the retirement is based on salaries eh.
Yes. So
'Di ba?
obviously, tapos
Oo.
the benefits also is lesser with women. And here's one more interesting fact that I've been digging. A lot of women are getting the C-suite level, and all these women who's doing the getting the C-suite. So okay, I know now we're getting all this women empowerment, women are now on top, yeah, good for us. But there's a problem that lies inside, which is women on top, the C-suite level, are asking for flexibility of time so that they can still take good care of their family. Where is equality there? And yet they're not given that opportunity. Number two, I
Mm.
found out also in a study that these women who are on the C-suite level needed support. They were asking like, "Hey, can we have some sort of support group, mentorship program? Can we join?" Because syempre at C-suite level, nakakabaliw, right? I'm sure, right? And it's not being given to them. This is why the C-suite level are getting, are trying to become their own entrepreneurs because they've proven themselves already that they're in the C-suite level. However, they can't leave the C-suite level if they're feeding, mouths. So
Yeah.
parang right? So parang how come that men when they ask for flexibility of time, they get it? And how come when men ask actually like, masochistic and stuff like that, they needed, that support with other CEOs, they have a support group. But with women, why can't you give it to them? So parang these kinds of stories is just really like pisses me off in a way na parang oo nga no, we're celebrating women on top. but we're not seeing the underlying, the challenges are that they're having, that women really needed the support. And why, even if you're the CC level, you're still feeding, your family, doing the chores. Parang,
Yes. Ano eh, I think yun nga, parang because women empowerment has been noisy in the past 10, 15 years, I
yeah.
think there's really the assumption that we've reached that. But the truth is, a lot of things have not yet really equalized. And I think there's
Mhm.
really because there's different interpretation of what equality
I
looks like.
mean, yeah,
And
it's
then at
true.
the same time, I mean, I wouldn't say naman it's 100% like
Hindi naman.
the guys or whatever. A lot of women also embrace the role the society has given us, right? So mahirap din tanggalin or i-ano, but I mean, it
It's
just
getting
always
there.
have to be a choice. Yeah, it just always have
It's
to
getting
be a
there.
choice. And of course, like with any situation, it's very important that there's legal support. Kasi when there's really a disadvantaged group, and this is something that we talked about last month, kasi last month was Pride Month, 'di ba?
Hmm.
Pag wala kang legality in place, hindi siya magiging bottom line standard, because the
True.
legal stuff presents on the
Yes.
basic front, dapat ito minimum, this is the minimum.
It's the law.
Right now,
Right?
yeah, it's the
Established.
law, so this is the
Yeah.
minimum standard. So right now, since walang the laws are not yet that developed in that way, hindi talaga mapapantay pa, kasi a lot of companies are just doing bare minimum, 'di ba? And in a way, maybe it's not also super choice, but it's just really based on what they know. So maybe even some companies don't know any better, right? So it's really hard to, I guess,
No blaming
particularly
naman.
blame. No
Yeah.
blaming. Yeah,
No
it's just a
blaming. It's just a
reality.
fact. Yeah. It's just the
Yeah,
reality.
just a reality na
And
we kind of have to work with. Yep.
yeah, and totally agree too. Pero yun nga, di ba? Like, having to know these facts, like, parang somehow, as sakit lang niya, like, having to know that. And then, I mean, I was in the hotel industry too. And then, that's why I left. I mean, who knows? Maybe I will be back in the hotel industry. I mean, who knows? I mean, it will forever be my number one love. But dun ko rin na-realize then, like, oo nga, no? Like, you really need the support, and it's hard to find a support within a territory where men are so used, or that position, people are so used that you're alone. Right? Now, suddenly, like, what? You're gonna ask for these kinds of changes. But I think the pandemic is a good way to do the reset. Kasi everybody's like, naalog tayong lahat eh. Na parang, what? We gotta do what? We gotta change what? Parang what? Diba? So parang dahil na-force lahat ng, like, example, digital transformation. People are like refusing to do digital transformation. But because of the pandemic, overnight, nag-digital transformation lahat ng tao. Wala kayong choice, hindi na kayo tamad.
Yes,
Di
walang
ba? Di ba? So parang,
correct, correct.
yeah. So I think, I mean, it's interesting. So, I mean, those who are listening, I hope you're not hard on yourselves if things are not working out, or it hasn't worked out the way that you're planning it, because we're still in the incubation stage. We're still
Mm-hmm.
toddlers in this new normal that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
But try to identify what is the problem, because you're right, like, for you identified it was the food also, and
Yeah,
I realized
correct.
it also with mine, like, okay, this health challenges I'm having was because of dairy and uminom ako ng kape. Sorry, doc. And no, but no, right? No, it's almond milk. It's fine. So anyway, so but still, anyway, so right, so it's really identical. So that's why when when this past few days, like, whenever, like, I try to, like, sakit ng ulo ko sa something, I would thought, ay nga, nakaka-mind blown, like, oo nga, no, the problem is the solution. The question is, what is really the problem?
What is really the problem?
What is
Exactly.
really the problem? Because maybe
Mm-mm.
you're just looking at the exterior,
Mm-mm.
and there's something inside. So the
Yeah.
problem, that the challenge I had with the payment gateway, I mean, maraming kwento pa yan. Nalaman ko lang din na yun lang yung problema ko at the time, right? And it wasn't me. So,
Mm-mm.
like,
Yeah. And
Parang I
then
was hard
parang
on
ang dami
myself.
mo nang in-overanalyze na ako ba, yung program ko ba, may problem ba ako sa product, sa offer, gano'n.
Lahat,
Yes,
ang
gets
dami ko.
ko.
So
Oo.
like, what? At yun
Yeah.
lang pala. Bad trip.
So I think so guys,
Yeah.
the reason that we're talking about this is because we're talking about the mid-year audit.
Yeah.
So
We're auditing ourselves.
we're auditing ourselves in the past January to June. And why is this important that we're auditing? Kasi actually one of the formulas in learning is that an experience plus processing, so E plus P equals L, learning. So ako, I'm a believer of that. I really share that with my team when I found out about it in coaching sessions. So like, what's an event? Let's say you make a mistake, you have a problem, you encounter the challenge. That's an event. If you do
Yes.
not process it, so you don't add the processing part, you don't actually learn. If
Yes.
somebody else will just share to you that, hey, Dar, this is what I learned when I experienced that problem, you won't really learn it. It's just like maybe the knowledge is there, you have the knowledge, but you don't learn
Implement
it.
and learn.
Yeah. So, yun talaga sinasabi ko sa mga tao, you have to take the time to process and pause. And now, since it's June, ay sorry, July,
July na, girl.
first week of July. Oo nga eh, hindi pa nag-move on.
Bilis. Grabe.
We want parang to give you guys tips in terms of your mid-year audit. And please feel free to ask us questions kasi after magbibigay ng questions, so kasi mag-ready ka na. Ano yung questions natin for the mid-year audit. Then let's process and look at what we can do for balance here. Because, of course, there's still 6 months left in 2021. Whether you have a
Woohoo!
good year so far or a bad year so far or just a so-so year so far, of course, starting tomorrow, we can make things better. It's a choice, right? Ayan. So,
Always,
ayan.
always choice.
It's always a choice. Cassie, ayan. What's your first question for our mid-year audit?
Oh my God. Actually, the team and I also, my team and I myself also, I've been going through that audit too. Parang, am I hitting my goals? What are the goals that I've written? Where am I? What happened? As in talagang, it's really important that you document what is happening through your days.
Correct.
So I remember during the first call, I mean the first plan last January, di ba, we talked about work-life integration and really identifying what are the themes of your days or your weeks and what are the things that you're doing to see what are the patterns and then identify like, okay, how much self-care are you doing? How much tactics are you implementing? How much strategy are you thinking? Kasi baka naman puro strategy ka na lang, hindi ka naman hindi mo
Nag-execute. Oo,
nag-execute.
correct.
Baka naman.
Correct.
Or gawa ka naman ng gawa, hindi ka naman nag-iisip. Or pwedeng gawa ka ng
Correct,
gawa,
correct.
hindi mo naman nagsa-self-care. So, girl, right? So, we gotta take
Yes.
good care of ourselves. So, well, what my team and I are doing or have been doing since last week. So, hindi pa rin kami tamos. Hanggang ngayon, we're still auditing a lot of, sectors in the business. So, one of those things is to really brainstorm everything that you want to still achieve this the rest of the year. But before you get into that brainstorming part, think about again what happened throughout January to June.
June,
See,
correct.
yeah, January to June to see like did I stretch? Did I expand? Did I ano may mga tanong ko?
Contract.
Yeah, so experience growth contribution just as like what
Yes, experience
Vision would
growth contribution.
Vision would always say, right? So go back to the experience growth and contribution. And what's nice now in this remote work is I always ask my team also, ikaw ba personally na like person and not nothing to do with the business. I mean, are you doing experience growth contribution? Because if you're not happy, what's the use of also working? Kasi I found out that happiness is such a huge factor. Talaga. Hindi dahil sa nagtatrabaho ka, kailangan talaga happy ka. Pag hindi ka happy, wala. As in, you're dragging yourself. And when you drag yourself, other people's businesses,
Yeah,
problem
don't
solution,
work.
di ba? So, di ba? So, identify it. So, those are the questions. And mas inuuna ko na ngayon tanungin yung happy ka ba? Happy ka pa? Ano bang
Mhm.
gusto mong matutunan? May natutunan ka? Kasi that way, I get to check also if I'm doing my job as a leader. Because if I'm just like delegating or dictating, I'll be useless because, diba? Something like that. So, yun, that's my first thing. And then in comparison to that, this is where you get to brainstorm. Okay, what are the things that you can do that you can possibly still do or not, right? And then identify it throughout the rest of the year. So pretty much on that. So grab a piece of paper, write it down, check what you wrote in January, and then reallocate them kung saan mo siya gagawin, kung may realidad ka pa ba, or idealistic ka pa ba, or may, kasi baka naman lagay mo 1 billion, girl naman. Diba?
Correct,
So,
correct, correct. Oo.
something like that. So,
Oo,
yun.
I think
With you.
for everyone who's listening, this is very important. Parang identify, or I mean, writing down again the goals you've set early this year and
Yeah.
just reviewing where you are versus your goals. Kasi parang it creates like yung what we say in our team is like parang you're drawing the starting line again.
Yeah.
'Di ba? So parang when you're drawing the starting line again, parang you want to be very sure or very clear with where you're standing. Kasi paano mo naman kuwari, ini-imagine mo, "Oh, dapat by December nandito na ako sa step 20." Eh, what if based on the mid-year, nasa step 1 ka pa lang
Yeah.
and your assumption is in 6 months, 20 steps, right?
Yeah.
So, if you know that you're in step 1, then you can imagine, okay, there's 20 steps, so every week I should take on maybe at least one step, right? So I can move towards the 20. But you can't assume that it's not 20. You can't assume the number of steps you need to reach that goal. You need to know where you are. Kasi minsan baka you're working on an assumption that you're in step 10, like mid-year step 10 na ako, tapos step ano na lang 10 steps away to step 20, but apparently 20 steps pala. So kaya it's very important that you really parang compare first. But I think one important tip din there, Cassie, is no judgment.
Yeah. And forgive yourself.
'Di Forgive
And
yourself
forgive yourself.
compassion. Parang the
Totoo.
purpose of the assessment is really for you to just establish where you are. Don't put so much emotion on it. Don't judge yourself na, shocks, dapat nasa step 10 na ako eh. Bakit nandito pa ako sa step 2? Parang ganyan. You
Good.
just need to identify first where you are. And then as Cassie said earlier nga, pag alam mo na, then you figure out, so ano ba nangyari? Bakit instead of step 10, I'm still in step 6? What went wrong?
Yeah, and of course, what went right. So, parang
Oo.
one thing I also realized, which, again, forgive yourself, diba? And when you do your audit, be kind to yourself na, okay, I'm doing this based on data. Yan. Most importantly, if merong mga entrepreneurs na nakikinig ngayon or you are in corporate, whatever it is that you're doing, I hope you get to step out of your emotions because your emotions has nothing to do with whatever you're doing. Right? I mean, it may have something to do because you have to be compassionate, you have to be kind. Of course, that's totally important. EQ is totally important. Pero when you're doing your audit, I know it's hard for us women, especially. Ang dami nating feelings eh. Hormones and all. But siguro, build an expectation na before you sit down, condition yourself and tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do an audit based on data. Period.
Correct, correct,
Right?
correct.
Kasi,
Oo.
ang
I
daling,
think,
yeah,
yeah, kasi
go
parang
ahead.
if we overlay like our current state, regardless of with more emotions, parang minsan bumibigat siya instead
Mm,
of us being able to figure out na lang what the solution is or how we can move forward. But we're not saying, guys, that don't process the emotion. We're
yeah,
just saying when you're auditing, you also need to come into a space that you have to detach yourself from the emotion, so you just know and you don't judge yourself. So the
yeah.
important part is the non-judgment of yourself.
Yeah. So,
Kasi
lang, parang just position yourself in a way na, I'm not going to, to hurt myself. I'm not
Yeah.
going to blame myself. Yeah, be kind.
Mm-mm.
Just be kind.
Yes.
Give yourself some grace, kumbaga.
Mm-mm.
Diba?
Oo.
Yeah.
Tapos ito,
So,
the other
mm,
question of Cassie that I got from her earlier is for everyone watching is what is your experience like this year? Have you journaled about it? Have you parang sort of like a recap na what is my year like? And maybe ask yourself how you've
write about it.
experienced yourself this year. What was your experience with yourself this year like? And what were the things that brought you joy? Sabi ni Cassie, yun yung important talaga yan.
Happiness. Alam nyo guys, ito parang, ewan ko lang kung magre-resonate kayo. But fact lang to. It's like super hard truth that I want to tell you. When somebody asks us, when someone or whoever man asks us, what is your purpose in life? Siyempre, ang sinasagot natin, di ba, is whatever. Ikaw, Dar, ano usually answer mo? Anong
What's my
purpose mo in
purpose in
life?
life? In a way, because I've processed like my ikigai and so on, I believe my purpose is really here to help people parang go a step further in bringing out their best version of themselves.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. And that is absolutely correct, right? I mean, there are no right and wrong. That's my point here. But in truth, Dar, ito lang, talagang super mind blown. The number one thing that is actually hurting us when we actually tell when we answer those questions, that specific question, what is your purpose, ang hirap niya sagutin, di ba? I mean, hindi lahat ng tao nakaka-process tulad
correct,
natin.
correct. Oo.
Geek lang talaga tayong dalawa pagdating sa mga ganito. Pero ang totoo niyan, isa lang yan, everybody wants to be happy.
Yes, everybody just wants to be happy.
Period. Tapos na. So, bakit tayo takot magsabi na anong purpose mo in life? Diba? What
To
is
be
your purpose?
happy.
Why you're doing it? To be happy. And it's not selfish. So, I think as women, we're hurting ourselves because how come other people like men, I'm sorry, again, I'm not questioning equality here. I'm just stating the fact lang na how come people with men, pag nagiinuman sila, pare, ano bang, ano mo, purpose mo yun, pare, gusto ko na maging masaya. Parang, whoa, profound. Pero when girls, like we were asked, what is your purpose? I'd like to help. I mean, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. I mean, it's correct, definitely correct, because that's a mission. But it's
Mhm.
really being happy. So going back
Yeah,
to
exactly. Parang tama
right,
eh. Parang the bottom line is the experience of happiness. How
it's
you
really
get the
happiness.
happiness is where it probably differs. Na parang, oh, I get fulfillment doing this, you get fulfillment doing that. And these are the things that make us happy.
Happy. So I think
Yeah.
before you do your audit also, maybe sit down and ask yourself, what are the things that makes me happy? What are the
Yeah.
things in all facets of life? Your health, your thinking, your work, your skills, your hobbies, di ko alam, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kids,
Your
lahat,
relationship. Yeah.
relationship mo, lahat. Put in there. And then after that, what I did, well, I have my notes here. After that, what I do, ganito talaga. So, yeah, after that, ask yourself, what is a rich life for you? Rich life. Like, what does a rich life mean for you?
Hmm.
Kasi everybody has a different meaning in terms of the rich life. Like, maybe with you, Dar, what is a rich life for you?
Sa akin, it's really having a safe home, secure home na walang utang yung bahay. So financially free in terms of the home, being able to have multiple experiences like travel with my family, travel also with my team. I would want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to do that and really just continue on with our mission to empower people. So I think that would
Yeah,
be
that's a
really a
rich
rich
life.
life for me.
Exactly. So that is your definition.
Sorry,
Now,
I think
other,
our internet is breaking.
yeah, you're breaking, Dar. Sige lang. So while I'm waiting for Dar, let us know if we're helping you here. I'm going to check on also the Facebook while we're waiting for her to, get back here with us. She's breaking down her internet, but I hope that helps you guys. Ayan, you're back now. I hope that gets to help you guys. I think, when doing an audit, it doesn't have to be very complex. Sometimes you just have to go straight to the point. So, I think, okay, the people who are listening here are either you are freelancers, tama ba? Or there are freelancers, there are, maybe there are corporate people, there are also entrepreneurs, which is great. Yeah, when you audit yourself, ask yourself, number one, are you happy? Number two, what is define your rich life for you? Number three
Mhm.
is having to check on those two things that you have written. Ask yourself now the number three. Are you actually accomplishing them? So kung ang rich life mo is, ako kasi mababaw talaga kalagayan ko guys. Ang rich life ko lang talaga is makatulog na mahimbing, mga ganyan level. As in like, mababaw talaga kalagayan ko. Like nakakatulog ba ako araw-araw ng 8 hours? Okay na ako. So sometimes ganun lang
Mm.
ako kababaw. But ask yourself if nangyayari ba siya. Kasi kung hindi nangyayari, let's just say yung 8 hours of sleep mo, nga hindi siya nangyayari. So ask yourself, how can I make it happen? Or what is hindering
Yeah,
me from making it happen? It has nothing to do with business, but it will play a huge role in everything.
correct,
That's what
correct.
I feel. So yeah. So what is the definition of your rich life? So let me ask you guys, what is your definition? I mean, I can't read comments, but I will check it now. May comments pa sa'yo, girl.
Wala pa. We were having like a challenge in our broadcast because it wasn't like broadcasted, but when nag-start na tayo, I don't know, there was an error, I think, with StreamYard. So we're live
Yeah.
in the BDJ and CAP pages, but not in our respective groups. Kaya shinare din na lang natin.
Yeah, I'm sharing
Pero
it now
I
also.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, medyo buggy din si StreamYard, no?
Sometimes. Yeah. But
Sa
it
groups
works.
eh. Yeah, it works.
Yeah, but it
So in
works.
terms of yeah, I think you're right. The definition of a rich life. There's an article I shared with You Got This PH that parang what's happening right now all over the world, not just in the Philippines, is that there's a mass resignation. Like madaming tao nagre-resign from different companies, right? So, but yes, the Bellas, the profile is majority are
From
working from
home.
in the corporate world, yeah, majority of them. So yung feeling ko kasi doon with the mass resignation, given the what happened in the pandemic, parang everybody just like had this massive realization na parang, oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah, what is my definition of success? If we're gonna, if it's gonna be the end of the world in the next 2, 3 years, parang I don't know if I still want to be doing this, right? In the middle of the pandemic. So
So
I
true.
think that's the one that's like freaking people out. And that's why, okay, I want to make sure what I'm working on for the next years in the middle of the pandemic because it's not going away anytime soon, or we're hoping that it goes away by next year, or I don't know. We're super delayed in
God
the
knows.
Philippines, but we're
God
still
knows.
hoping. But you want to be able to work on something that matters to you. You want to be able to work on things that means something to you. I think that's like a great definition of a rich life. Now on a
Yeah.
day-to-day basis,
Mm-mm.
um of course we all need money. Of course we need these financial resources, and parang 'di ba, one of the things that we keep saying also in BDJ, which I learned from my psychologist guys, is that sinabi niya, it doesn't do anyone good if you're like a beggar on the street. So you have to make sure you are not being greedy if you need to work for money or get money. What we're just saying is that you have to put some meaning to it so it feels a bit better.
Yeah.
um
I truly
and no
agree.
judgment. Everybody deserves money, everybody deserves abundance, and we are worthy for that. Ayun.
Yeah, and actually going through money, sobrang dami nating money story, money, money issues. Not because it's not your fault, it's nobody else's fault. It could be the culture, it could be a lot of factors. It could be your environment, your mom, your dad, your grandmother, and it's really passed on. Now, having to live the rich life is really not okay. I think what I'm trying to say here is that that's why I went back to having a rich life and defining it. It's because we all are earning money or want to earn money, but the question is, where are you going to house that money? And right? So
Mm-mm.
and do you feel guilty also
Yes,
when
correct.
you are splurging yourself? So something that my husband and I actually do also, we also have this rule now. Okay, we earn this much. Okay, how much are you going to spend for your own luho? Like, I'm not going to judge you of
Yeah,
anything. So kunyari
correct.
gusto ko magpamasahe twice in a week, di nga ako i-judge. Kasi yun lang yun yung inallocate ko without any guilt because
Correct,
I
correct.
need it. So ask yourself that too, na parang if I feel guilty on earning money, it's you may not have defined yet what is a rich life for you.
Correct, correct.
It could be that. You
I
have
think
anything to say?
also with the guilt, a lot of people kasi, I think I've seen this with a lot of our community members in our company, in myself,
Oo
that
naman.
there's really a struggle sometimes in feeling or understanding or accepting our worthiness. Kasi
Yes.
parang I
So
think we
true.
shared that in one of our posts that sometimes parang even if you change jobs, you're still worthy. Even if you do something else, even if you don't do anything, you're still worthy. Parang your worthiness or your worth as a person doesn't get devalued by parang the different things that happen in your life, right? You're still a good person. You're still worthy of all these abundance. The challenge lang is, again, as you said earlier, is the how. Na
Yeah.
parang,
It's how. Where are you housing it?
yeah, the how. Oo, but at the same time, kung your belief is you're not worthy, hindi ka talaga aabot sa how. Or even if you do the how, I guess you won't be able to attract it kasi we attract what we believe.
What you believe to
And
be true is true. That's so true.
mhm, right?
Mm.
So ayan.
Yeah, and
So
it's a healing process also. It's really a healing
yes,
process. I'm not saying we're perfect. I mean,
correct,
diba?
correct.
I, it's just that we have to, I, ano siya eh, mindfulness siya. As in, like, it's amazing how, grabe talaga. I think, yun nga,
Mindfulness nga siya.
this
Self-awareness, right?
self-awareness and mindfulness. Ang dami ko na-realize na, like, with all the challenges that we are both experiencing, you and I are experiencing, yun nga, na mind blown ako dun sa the problem is the solution. Parang what? Oo nga, no? And then, the other thing is your self-worth has nothing to do with your offer. So now when somebody asks me also, which I hope you, I mean, those who are listening here get to also apply this. When they get to ask me, Cassie, how much are you per hour? I would always say I'm priceless. Yeah, so like, ang hirap niya sabihin na sa simula, ang hirap niya, girl, ang hirap niya sabihin sa simula. Parang, hey, Cass, how much are you per hour? Di ba dati, parang, it's, ganyan. Ngayon, I'm priceless. I mean, no yabang or anything. It's just that I have to embody it. Number
Yeah.
three, also, dati nahihirapan ako magbigay ng pera. Nahihirapan talaga ako. As in, like, pag nagbabayad ako ng bills, parang feeling ko I'm getting robbed. Alam mo yun? Parang feeling ko,
Oh,
parang, dito na naman siya mapupunta. But eventually, when I sabi ko, there's something wrong with me. Why am I feeling this way? Instead, what I think about now is this is prosperity and giving
yeah.
this prosperity, this prosperous, this thing, and I'm supporting other people. So let's just say,
Correct, correct,
diba, you pay
correct.
for your Starbucks. You're not
Mm-mm.
paying for your Starbucks. You're actually paying for the person who did the coffee for you. You're
Yeah.
supporting the establishment sa halagang 100 pesos. Diba? Or
Mm-mm.
150. Magkano na ba nga yung Starbucks? Anyway, parang ganon. So,
Nakabili pa lang eh.
oo nga, nakalimutan ko na eh.
Oo.
Gcash kasi. So, hindi, pero
But
diba?
yeah, no, definitely, definitely. It's really all about parang um for me
What about
kasi
you?
parang one of the challenges that we all have is really the scarcity mindset. So in terms of when you mentioned the prosperity, 'di ba? Guys, I recommend this book in Audible, Prosperity Consciousness. It's like really one of the best books that I've ever listened to in Audible. And super sulit siya in terms of really imbibing prosperity and your worthiness. And I think kasi we need to really improve our relationship with money, how we handle money. And
Yeah.
as you said, yung pagbabayad natin ng mga bills, we should be in a place na, oh, ang yaman ko. Oh, we have lots of money. That's why I can spend on this, right? So there's like happiness that you attach to the money that you send out, and then you also gain it back. And the thing is, yun nga, money multiplies when you use it.
Money is just
And
a tool.
yeah, and you
So,
can also have an affirmation. I have like a money affirmation about like the every money I spend comes back to me tenfold. So it's like instead of an expense, it's actually each spending that I have is actually an investment that it comes back to me tenfold. So, 'di ba?
di ba?
Oh,
Totoo.
I'm seeding money and it will get back to me in tenfold, 'di ba? So parang it becomes like a joy na. And I guess that's also what we mean earlier, Cassie, 'di ba? Na parang with the things that we need to do, the goals that we have, and even the work that we have, how do we input joy in it so that this year can be lighter, and even future parang future years, future stuff, diba? It will be lighter. So, ayan, we have a few more minutes, but maybe we can help our the everyone watching us that parang since we talked about the questions that you need to ask yourself in this in the mid-year audit, like how do we plan forward naman in the next 6 months? How do we maximize the next 6 months?
What we do, I mean, what I personally do, again, guys, this is me, but I would love just to pass it on to you guys because I mean, again, it may not work for you, but you can try to ask yourself maybe. I mean, it's not a quick fix kind of thing. What I do is, again, is number one is to look into what happened. I mean, aside from all those questions, your rich life, what is, your money thing, your money, where are you going to house your money, all these things, reverse engineer your goals. So once you've identified what happened in January to June, and then ask yourself na-achieve mo ba siya or hindi. If hindi mo siya na-achieve, bakit kaya? Ano nangyari? So if you were documenting it on your journal, look into what are the trigger points. Baka nga, again, baka puro strategy ka, puro isip ka na lang ba? Or are you also tactics? Pag tactics naman, puro gawa ka lang ba, walang isip? Or maybe it's because, sure, self care is fine too, but with self care also, are you also taking good care of the other things that matters to you? So those are the things that actually I actually asked myself, and I actually simplified then my week. So I created my own planners. I'll send it to you guys, which papagawa ko kay Dar kasi nagwo-work na siya sa akin. Anyway, so yeah, so I would ask myself that, and then I will back read to see what are the things that I was grateful for, and what did I feel throughout the weeks that happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time pala kasi I learned along the way na we have patterns. So let's just say for me, around June, mga ganyan, around June, February and June, sometimes meron akong moments na down lang talaga ako. I mean, like, ayokong gumalaw, parang ganyan. So, may mga ganun akong moments. Or may moments ako na talagang just want to slow down or something like that. So, try to see if there are patterns because maybe next year, you might experience the same thing. So we're
Correct,
human
correct.
people, di ba? Human beings we are composed of behavioral patterns eh. So like get into that. And then what I would do after is I try to also simplify na my life. So sometimes, ako kasi, eto alam ni Darito, mahilig ako sa projects. Projects here, projects there, projects everywhere. I mean, gusto kong gawin lahat ng bagay sa mundo, right? So, but now, I only focus on 2 to 3 things. As in, that's it. The
Mm-hmm.
entire year, that's it. And then, I get to audit them in 90 days sprint. So in 90 days sprint, meaning I try them in 90 days. So look into your whatever projects that you're having. Let's just say you have a major project from January, ano ba 90 days? Ano, January, February, March to March. And then you did it again. And then, may nagbago ba? Kasi may baseline kayo, may nagbago ba? Pag walang nagbago, tanong mo rin yung sarili mo, baka naman kasi wala ka rin binago. So, di ba? So,
Mm-hmm.
so what were the moments or the momentum that you actually built or gave yourself or went into? So, something like
Yeah.
that. right? And then once that you get to do that, ask yourself like what are still remaining? Like what are the lists of things or list of accomplishments that you still want to achieve the entire year? And then reallocate them now to the different spread of the rest of the year. Kasi hindi naman ibig sabihin na hindi siya nangyari no February at saka no March. Ibig sabihin no you're a failure na. Girl,
Correct.
no. It just means that, okay, life doesn't happen to you. Life doesn't happen for you. Life happens through you. It passes through. So what can you do to spread it onto the next couple of 6 months? So don't be hard on yourself. So what
Mm-hmm.
I would do is I would put in your 30 days, 30 90 days sprints again. And let's just say on project mo is I want to have 100,000 pesos. And in 100,000 pesos, bakit gusto mo ng 100,000 pesos? So i-reverse engineer mo. Number one, paano mo siya magagawa? Number two, anong gagawin mo? Number three, bakit kailangan mo ng 100,000? Number four, pag nakuha mo na yon, anong contentment, anong joy, anong
Mm-hmm.
accomplishment, how are you going to celebrate it? Number five, okay, now that you have accomplished it, what happened, what transpired? And what showed up for you? Did you grow as a person? Did you grow the company as well? Or whatever that may be. So usually these hard questions are really hard. That's why they're hard questions. But having to reverse engineer things kasi and knowing what worked and what didn't work and how can you make it work. Sometimes the magic is actually in the middle of knowing if you have the data to back it up. Now, if kayo guys, kunyari girls, hindi pa kayo ma-data, like hindi kayo nag-geek out para kami ni Dar. Just ask yourself, why are you happy?
Mm-mm. I
And
like yung overall nga, parang that it's very important nga to focus only on 2 to 3 projects. And ako, I would add lang to that is really prioritize. Kasi that way, parang you really know what to focus on.
mm,
To be honest, I'm such a serial multitasker, and I do have friends na their strengths are focus and discipline. So parang ina-admire ko yun sa kanila. And that's why I guess the compromise is instead of one, it's 2 to 3 projects. And I like rin, Cassie, what you said about 90-day sprints, like 1 quarter, diba?
yeah.
So the thing is, I think how you set out your projects is that you design it that it's doable in 90 days. Yeah, so parang when you design the projects that you need to accomplish, the 2 to 3 projects that you want to do for yourself for this quarter, you develop a 90 days for it, and then you just
Mm.
focus on it.
Ah, we lost you again, Dar. Okay, hi guys. So we lost her again. It's okay. So let's wait for her to hop on in here. Anyway, hello to those who are listening. To those who are in BDJ. Hey guys. I see some people who are also online on Ambitious Tribe with a Plan. Hey everyone. To those who are listening. Hey everyone. Nice to see you. Make yourselves felt naman so that we know who are in here. I hope that we're making sense, tons of sense to you guys, and we're helping. We get to help you in terms of how can you actually make the rest of the year optimize and work out for you. Yeah, so while we're waiting for our, let me just push through with this. So yeah, so those are a few things that I would love. I mean, we both love to invite you to really just audit on your date. I mean, there is no right or wrong way to audit your life. There's no right or wrong way also on how do you get to also do things. But with awareness, with self awareness, and also with acknowledging what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. Did you stretch? Did you expand? Did you get to also face fear? Did you also brave or courageously do something new today? Diba? So just basically ask yourself these kinds of questions and just be mindful and be present of what is happening in your life. So yes, focus only on 2 to 3 projects because if you have multiple projects, which is normal too, because di ba, you have projects at home, you have projects at work, you have projects for your children, okay lang yon. Pero if you designed those projects specifically for you because you're the one who actually wanted to accomplish those, then jot down and reverse engineer how do you think you will make it happen, right? And with the 90-day sprints naman, it's really more on having a baseline and something to also review after 90 days too. So an example for that, let's just say you have the first 90 days, it's all about achieving or wanting to build your own business. So ask yourself, number one, am I actually taking actionable steps? Am I really doing something for that business that I wanted to curate? Number two, am I being visible and letting the world know or letting people that this is the business that I have, that this is my offering, and you are open for maybe commission, or maybe you're open for business, or whatever that may be, right? Number three, it's ask yourself also within 90 days, what was the result of you showing up? What was the result of you asking for the sale? What was the result when you actually took action of those projects that you wanted to build? And then ask yourself again during that 90 days sprints, now this is the result. How can you replicate that result and make it better? How do you actually optimize or accelerate or put some accelerant to that next 90-day sprint? So basically, what's happening here is you are building mastery over something that you are good at or something that you want to be passionate. I mean, you are passionate about. So grab on to that 90-day sprint. And of course, document them. So if you are not documenting, nag-freestyle na ako. So
Yes.
if you're not documenting,
Sorry.
you
Tagal
won't
ko
be
nawala.
able. Okay lang. So if you're not documenting, you will have a hard time to actually know what is your baseline and what was really happening. So this is why you have built your power planners, you have the quest journal, you have all the tools from BDJ that can really help you to just really put your head into paper. Iba talaga kasi pag paper. And then you get to process them. You don't have to process them every day, but you just really have to take a look at, okay, what happened? That's just
Correct, correct.
all about it. So yeah. So what's your take about that, Dar?
Mm. Ako definitely I agree with you. I love this tip and even the documenting, the processing and review. I think it should be done on a daily to a weekly basis kasi
Weekly.
parang yun nga at the very least parang you see what's happening and then parang guys there's really fulfillment. I believe motivation
Mm,
is really strong when you see your progress. Kasi 'di ba yun naman yung reason na motivate tayo. Pag hindi man nakikita na shocks gumagalaw tayo na parang, "Ha, uulitin ko na naman 'to, uulitin ko na naman 'to." So parang whenever paulit-ulit yung mga bagay, that's when we get frustrated. But if you've properly documented it and process things, it might even be you'd see the differences for each thing that you've done. And maybe it's not exactly the same. And maybe that's where you're learning or process or improving. If it's exactly the same, then maybe that's a time to review. Why is it why am I expecting a different result when I'm doing
insanity.
exactly the same thing, right?
Mm.
So on that point, there's so much learnings to do also there.
Yeah, I wanted to add on the motivation also. One thing I learned too is that, especially nasa work from home tayo, nakakatamad talaga sometimes, guys. Let's face it. Sometimes talaga nakakatamad gumalaw. Gets ko naman kayo. No, yeah. Gets ko naman kayo. So, what I would add to that is when you actually build discipline, if you don't have the motivation, that discipline will show up for you. And that
Yes.
discipline is the one that will make you say, it's okay. I know I'm not going to be great in what I'm going to do today, but I know I have to do this, and I know this with mastery. So that is what's happened. So I know we have to wrap up now. So again, number one, the problem is a solution. Number two, when there is discipline, motivation, it's just easy. It's just going to easily pop up for you. And another thing that I learned along the way also, dreams don't happen, decision and your action do.
Yes,
So
I love that. Dreams don't happen, decisions
happen,
and
decision and
action do.
actions do.
Ganda. Ayan, I
Mhm.
will just recap the questions that we flashed. So, on the first part, when you're doing your mid-year audit, of course, process from January to June. So, things that you can ask yourself are what are the goals you've set early in the year and are you at versus those goals? What how did you experience yourself this year or the past 6 months? And what brought you joy? Okay. And the important question from Kassy is also what is the definition of your rich life? And where are you in relation to that definition of a rich life? And again, the rich life doesn't mean that, oh, I have 1 billion pesos or I have 1 million pesos. It can be as simple as the kind of life you want to live. Like for Kassy nga, it's parang just being able to properly sleep every night. And she feels like really great that this is the kind of life that I want. And then, of course, in planning out um your second half of the year, you can ask yourself what is the one thing you want to accomplish before the end of the year, right? In terms of maximizing as well is you have to reverse engineer based on your goals. And as earlier we were sharing also that it's constant documentation about your experiences because you might see patterns and these are clues to understand yourself better. So the ako believer talaga ako that we do set out patterns, we do have habits and these patterns actually show up often and it shows also it can showcase our beliefs like what are we believing about ourselves or what are we believing about the situations. That's why these kinds of events happen again and again.
Yeah.
And then last but not the least is focus only on 2 to 3 projects and develop it on a 90-day sprint. So that's just 1 quarter. We practice this even in our company. And so like July to September, then October to December. So again, document, process, and review. Ang daming takeaway. Thank you so much, Cassie. I
Sure.
really learned a lot.
Happy
And
to be here. Anytime.
yes, and then guys, meron pa rin tayong giveaway. To qualify, I wasn't able to announce this earlier. You go to the bdj.studio, go.bdj.studio for
Sign
slash sign
up.
up and share your takeaway from this session tonight. And then you get a chance to win some of our prizes. Ayun.
So
So,
yeah,
ayan.
go and document starting from today. Go whatever that may be. Maybe it's a desktop planner. Maybe it's a quest journal. I don't care. Write it down. Maybe it's a scratch paper. I don't care. Just keep. Even
Yeah.
resibo o kaya napkin. Di ko alam. Bahala kayo kung saan nyo gustong ilagay. Basta isulat nyo lang siya. Kahit notepad pa yan. Whatever that may be, go and do it. Because again, remember guys, dreams don't happen. Right? Your decision and your
Yes.
action too. So, that's something that I've learned along the way. If we keep on dreaming and we're not even going to wake up and do something about it,
Wala.
what's the use of
Ayan.
dreaming? Right? So I hope that helps you
Correct.
guys.
So we wanted to make our dreams happen in our lives. So I hope guys this this episode of Game Plan helped everyone watching us today and please do send us your questions if ever you have any. We'll be checking on it so that next month we'll cover it again. Okay. So thank you everyone. Good night. Thank you, Cassie.
Good night. Anytime. Bye.
Bye.